Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now we've got a really packed program today with lots of interesting guests which I'm sure you're going to love. First of all, actually, we have Jane Wrafter's fitness tip. We also have positive psychologist and senior consultant at the Neuroleadership Group, Christopher Samsa, to give some tips on happiness. We'll also be chatting to director Carol from Suit the City, and also in the studio we have Melanie Burnell, who had a psychotic breakdown and took an overdose. She's completely back on her feet now, thankfully, and she wants to raise awareness on how this illness develops and what to do about it. And also, without further ado, how can we forget?
Hello, Chrissy.
I call them the dynamic duo.
Oh,
we have
so
Ian
sweet.
and Helena.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
We're bouncing as usual.
It's good to be here.
I've got my tea.
We've got tea today, yes.
Tea today.
Yeah, we need to
Very
be more
refreshing.
relaxed on this show. Well,
Absolutely.
actually, if we get any more relaxed, we'll fall asleep, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll keep you awake. We'll keep talking. We'll keep talking, don't we?
Okay, so
Go
who's
on then.
going to start?
We're going to start off with Rick Mail, who's
Okay.
given us a lifetime of laughs, who's unfortunately died. So quite a sad thing,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Big shock to everybody who was such an inspiration, which is really, really sad. So condolences to his wife Barbara and children.
It's meant to be a happy show.
Yeah.
I know, but it's not. I mean, it's a memory.
It's a celebration of
It is.
celebration
I mean,
of life.
He's just incredible. He's a genius. He's a comedy
He is,
genius.
yeah.
But do you know, I think the thing that it actually teaches all of us, doesn't it,
Yeah.
is live each day.
Absolutely.
You know, enjoy and live each day, because we do.
That's the way, isn't it?
It has to be.
Yeah.
You can't live your life sort of wondering about with fear or anything like that. Live each day.
He was an amazing man.
Absolutely.
He was actually really bright. You know, he took his O-levels when he was 9.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So did I.
Complete genius.
No, I didn't.
I did one O-level when I was 9.
Did you?
9?
Oh,
Or was I
really?
13? Can't remember.
It wasn't Greek, was it?
It was actually. Yes, it was
Nothing
Greek.
wrong with that.
It was.
funny.
Yeah.
It's too Greeky.
I was in the local
Yes,
paper
good.
as well.
Oh, there
the
you go.
youngest girl in the borough to get an O-level.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you. Oh. Anyway, so it's been a really royal time, which has been fantastic. Myself and Ian, obviously.
Oh, you love it, don't you?
Photographing, videoing, everything, which has been fantastic. And D-Day.
D-Day?
With the Queen.
Oh, I thought okay, go on.
This is an introduction for Ian. No, so the
It's okay, you go ahead, we'll
so
ignore
the Royals have been celebrating D-Day and just remembering, really, D-Day. Queen has been seen in 3 different outfits in one
Absolutely.
day, which
Ooh.
is, you know, if you think about her
So
age.
we think she's
It's
following
amazing.
Kate now, because normally
3 outfits in one day.
Well, no, I think she's, because normally, the Queen wouldn't, she doesn't sort of change that much, and to have sort of 3 different outfits in one day, and it's a very conscious move. I think there's this sort of thing about bringing the Queen into the 21st century, I
It's getting
suppose.
fashionable now.
Fashionista.
Because it was like a huge thing in Normandy, and she did 3 different events, so she wanted to have different looks.
Yeah.
Very pretty
That's-
as well.
Good for her.
Absolutely.
looks.
Oh, and there's this wonderful picture as well, isn't there, of the Queen and Philip, as you've tweeted.
Beautiful, fantastic shots were taken in Normandy. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, so they're not
Oh,
mine, but they're
never mind.
really probably the best I've seen in years.
Yeah.
So perfect.
And the Tea Party as well, Buckingham Palace, 93.
Yeah, Prince Philip, happy. Yeah, you can talk as well. So happy birthday to Prince Philip, who's 93.
Wow.
Happy
Well, I've got
birthday.
a party over your shoulder.
So it's actually the oldest male in history, oldest royal male in history. And he had his birthday celebration, garden party at Buckpal. And he's been working every single day, non-stop, and been in Normandy, etc. It's amazing, 93, can you imagine?
It's brilliant, isn't it?
And it'll be obviously Queen's Consort again on Saturday. It's Troop in the Colour. And there's lots of sort of things happening. There's so much royal going on at the moment.
That's why you're so busy, the
Everyone's
2 of
out.
you.
We are
lately.
absolutely
But it's all good.
Aw.
We love it, we love it.
hanging on to the royal carriages. We are.
we are. But William, Duchess and Duke and Duchess of Cambridge as well have been out and about. And it's great to see the Duchess doing something, well, not doing something, that's not fair to say, but I know people have been saying, why isn't she doing, her appearances? But she was also in Normandy wearing her Alexander McQueen outfit, which we've seen before, but it's beautiful light pink outfit and a little hat. So great to see her out and about. Yeah, she does that. She recycles her clothing,
that's really good.
Which
actually.
is great.
That's quite brave of her to do.
Yeah, and she wears high street things
because
as well.
people like watching her like a hawk, really, aren't they?
Absolutely.
That's great. Good for her.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do you know, I found out a fact about it the other day, and I should have known this anyway, but I didn't realise she worked for a high street chain. When she came out of university, she was a buyer for a high street chain.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so she's, you know, she just worked her way through the, on the company as well.
That's good.
So she's
Quite down to earth.
She's
then,
very
isn't
down to earth,
Yeah.
especially on the fashion side.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got loads of royal stories, but maybe we should
We
creep on to
Let's
something
celeb
else.
stuff.
So should we
I'll
creak
have a
on
sip
now?
of my- Sip of my tea while you're cooking.
But can I just mention, is everyone going to be watching the football?
Who are you supporting?
England's going to be playing Italy in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
I'm very interested. I think I know what's going to happen, but I think we should all be rooting and supporting. I'm not a huge fan, but because it's the silly
Are you
season
quite
for
optimistic?
me. Do you know, if it wasn't in Brazil, I would think possibly in with a chance.
think?
But with that heat,
That heat and that support
I
that
think
they'll be
it's-
getting, all those drums and like,
do you
it's
know
gonna be-
what? The other thing I know I will get is that every time I watch an England match, and it's, you know, and I'm sat there quietly in my room watching this thing, who do I get a phone call from?
No, not me. It can't be me. I'm not going to be brought
Every
into
single
it. I'm not
time.
going to be
She
brought
doesn't
into
know there's the
it.
football match on, isn't it? Oh.
Never mind.
Gordon
Is that
Ramsay? I thought this was quite a sort of strange story this week about Gordon Ramsay.
We've got to get Ian an iPad.
Yeah, I know.
Just share one. Look at
And
him.
perhaps a pair of glasses as well, please.
Some of these stories are his as well, so I don't know why.
But he started talking this week, Gordon Ramsay started talking this week about skin peels. And I thought, first of all, he was talking about potatoes.
No.
No.
So he's going to get one done.
No, he's been having them done for years,
Oh.
believe it or not. He's now going to stop having them done. He's also going to stop dyeing his hair.
How old is he, do you know?
He's young. He's fairly
this-
young. I think
Well,
he's
I-
late 30s.
I was watching
he's
him
been
the other day.
having skin pills and Botox.
Wow.
But I think he hasn't actually got that look, hasn't he? An older look.
Well, probably because he's so stressed all the time.
Well,
The way he
but
sort of goes off on one and swearing
Swearing
at
and
everyone.
everything.
He's
It's-
angry.
It's supposed to be. I put it down to the
It's quite
Botox.
attractive.
He uses Botox. I can't believe it. Gordon Ramsay, you know, sort of.
So
I
he's
mean,
finally stopping then?
well, I wouldn't notice the difference anyway. I don't
I
think.
don't
to be
know. He's one of
perfectly
those.
honest.
And we've got Tom Ford as well. He's recently had a baby girl, I think. And he said that he's going to now age gracefully, so no more Botox. So all these people that take, using Botox,
No,
it's amazing. I don't think I would.
And then
No,
Liz Hurley. Liz Hurley is
I don't
getting
lose my
closer.
expressions on my face.
Yeah.
Liz Hurley is getting closer to a man's heart now. Because Liz Hurley is starting to do cordon bleu cooking.
Ooh.
She's doing cordon bleu cooking lessons because she has this new rich millionaire beau, and she wants to get
She's
to
got
his
to keep
heart.
him sweet.
She's got
right?
to keep to him sweet, and so and they always say, oh, the route to a man's heart is
Yeah.
through his tummy.
Is that true?
I mean,
I think it's the
Could be.
case.
Could
I
be.
think it's the case.
I do. I think men
But I think
appreciate women that
Liz actually does. She likes to groom her men and keep
Mm.
them quite slim. So I don't know if she's going to be feeding him too much. And I'd like to know
That's why
who
it's
this millionaire
called
guy is. So that would be fun.
Is it top secret? You're going to investigate and find
Yeah,
out?
I want to find out. Do you know who it is?
Sorry, I wasn't
The new
listening to
partner.
what you were
No, I'm just saying that the new millionaire partner.
Oh, new millionaire? No, I've no idea. We've
I don't
no
know who
idea.
it
You probably worked with him, Ian, at some
We
point.
I've probably worked with them sometimes.
I love it when
I've
you
worked
say
with them
that.
all. Justin
We've got
Bieber.
about a minute left. Have we got time to
Have we?
squeeze one more in?
Simon Cowell.
Yes.
Okay.
He's your
So-
favourite, isn't he?
He is actually. I do love Simon. So the
I've got a couple of minutes
new is it Melanie B, isn't it? No, Mel C. That's right. Who's going to be the final X Factor girl? Because we've all been waiting for ages and ages
To
and
find
ages.
out who it is.
But,
So who are they then? I don't even...
so we have
Cheryl
Simon
Cole.
Cowell, Cheryl Cole,
Louis Walsh.
Louis
Louis
Walsh,
Walsh.
and Melanie
Oh.
Mel C.
Okay.
That's it.
So-
And apparently she's a dragon. Because she on the American version, she
just says it as
That
it
was Sporty
is.
Spice, right?
No.
This is
The other one.
Yeah, curly hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Melanie Black, is it? No, that's the other one. That's Mel
Hang on,
B.
which one are we talking about?
Which one are we
No,
talking
Mel
about?
C.
Mel C is Sporty Spice.
No, Mel C is Sporty Spice.
Okay, so it's
So
It was Scary
Mel B.
Spice.
Mel B.
Mel B. Scary Spice.
Scary Spice.
how useless
Well,
we're being.
she's-
Yeah,
If
If anyone
Scary
wants to correct
Spice.
us, please send us an email.
No, it's definitely
about. Answers on a
Scary
postcard.
Spice. It's definitely Scary
Scary
Spice.
Spice. Okay, well, yeah.
But she
Yeah.
she
Quite
tough.
scared a pensioner to tears on the American version of X Factor. That's why she's been brought on. Yeah, seriously.
Oh.
Do I lie? Do I lie?
But isn't it too much though with Simon and her?
I don't think so. I think it'll be fine. Male and female. He's calmed down now. Now he's got his little boy. He's not as, he's chilled out.
Yeah, we'll
he's
see.
with Lauren. He's happy.
Yeah.
He wants more children. Actually, a funny thing is, guess what his nickname is?
No idea.
Well, this is via Piers Morgan. Lauren, this is what, his wife to be, Lauren calls him Dumbo. Can you believe that?
Why?
With big ears.
I don't know. That's just their little affectionate talk.
No idea why.
I don't know. That's what it is.
So will you save do you have many more news articles?
Lots.
Okay, you have to save them for next time then.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah? All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
News for us. And after the break, I'll be joined by positive psychologist Christopher Samsa, and we'll be taking a look at the fitness tip from Jane Wrafter.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now, before we get some advice on being happy, let's go to Jane Wrafter with the fitness tip.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane. Welcome to your fitness tips on the Chrissy B Show. So today I'm going to talk to you about a problem that most of the population has at some time or other in their life, and that is an achy, sore back. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of things you can do to strengthen your back and improve the mobility in your back. Because if you get your spine, your vertebra moving, it makes the discs that sit between the vertebra more healthy. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of things. A really simple exercise. If you find that you just get this general aching in your lower back, if you've been standing around or sitting a lot, it's really common. You need to get your back moving. The worst thing you can do is sit still. You need to get it moving. So an easy, simple, non-controversial exercise is this. Non-controversial means it's not going to do you any harm, okay? It's really safe. So you pull your abdominals in, arms wide, and you just simply let your knees and your pelvis rock from side to side. Have a slight connection with your lower back all the time by pulling your belly button in so you feel your abdominals are switched on, okay? Now you could do this for as long as you want. You can't really do too many of them. And I promise you'll start to feel a release. If you do these on a regular basis, do them preventatively, do them when you've got a sore back, just get on the floor and roll the knees side to side. Okay, keep both shoulders flat on the floor. So try not to let the shoulder come up like this. Try and keep the shoulder flat. I'll show you another one. Along the same lines, getting the spine moving. Arms by your side, feet hip width apart, and then just tilt your pelvis up so that your tailbone looks up towards the ceiling. And then working from the base of your spine up to the top, lift one vertebra at a time up onto your shoulders, okay? Try not to arch the back here. We want a nice flat neutral spine. This is a Pilates exercise, by the way. And then as you roll down, try not to drop your bum, all right? And try not to arch your back, because if your ribs stick up, you're not going to get movement through your spine. So your ribs should be flat inside your body. I know it sounds like a strange thing, but if you cough, the ribs go inside your body and then you can get movement. I'll just show you that again. If you arch your back and your ribs stick out, you can't get the roll through the spine. So you want to get those ribs out of the way and then roll down. Really nice, and it feels almost like a massage through your lower back. So you could do as many of these as you want as well. I mean, why don't we aim for 10 and do more if you want to. I want to show you one more simple exercise, also a Pilates exercise, and it's the cat stretch. So you start with a neutral spine, nice and flat, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Engage through your tummy, pull your belly in, keep your shoulders away from your ears, and then just allow your spine to stretch out. Chin in the chest, tailbone tucked underneath. Try not to let your shoulders fly into your ears, and then lift. So you want to take a breath, exhale, and really squeeze your tummy, guys. If you squeeze your tummy, it will strengthen your tummy and improve the curve through the back. Okay, I'll show you one more. So you round it, squeeze, and release. So any of you out there suffering from back discomfort, put that in your daily regime and you'll see the difference. Okay, see you soon, guys.
Welcome back. So I'm now joined by Christopher Samsa, positive psychologist. Hello, Christopher.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good.
So what is a positive psychologist?
What do you think a positive psychologist
A
is?
psychologist, that's positive, but then I thought
Yes.
most of them were anyway, so why put the name?
It's interesting, when we think about psychology, we usually think about the anxiety, stress, depression. So for me, psychology is a continuum from -10 to 0 to +10. Everyday psychology, the sort of psychology that we all think about, is in the 0 to -10 piece. And positive psychology is just in the 0 to +10 piece. So psychology is across the whole range, but we've sort of forgotten almost what comes in the 0 to +10 piece.
Okay.
So the positive psychology movement is it's really just to say, listen, there is this other piece. How can we concentrate on that a little bit more?
But do you also concentrate on the other stuff as well to bring in, or you just
No.
on the positive?
No, not
stuff?
so much. So positive psychology is all about, we call it the science of happiness. So what could you do to be happier, to have a higher state of well-being in your life? And we would normally look at positive emotions, strengths, values, gratitude, hope, those sorts of things.
So is it really possible to think yourself happier then?
Yes, it is.
How can you do it?
I mean, there are lots of tools and tips and techniques that you can use in positive psychology. And normally what we're doing is looking to, say, move somebody from a +3 to a 7 or an 8. It's not about taking somebody that's suffering from sort of some sort of form of deep psychosis and moving them to a 0, for example.
Right.
But some of the methodology does work with depression as well. So one of the things everybody can do before you go to sleep at night is 3 good things, it's called. So you write down 3 positive things that have happened to you during the day. And you also write down the reason why they've happened as well. It's important that you make a connection in your brain as to what was the reason the positive thing happened.
Yeah.
Research shows us that doing that for about 3 months is as positive, so if you were suffering from something like mild depression, it has as beneficial a result as taking certain types of antidepressants.
Oh wow, much better for you.
Much better for you.
Yeah.
It's something that I would recommend that everybody does for some period in their life. The other thing is, my other area of speciality is applied neuroscience. One of the things that we know about the brain is when you go to sleep, you definitely need your 7 to 8 hours sleep, number one. That is for good brain health, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. People that say, oh, I only need 3 to 5, unfortunately that's just not right.
Right.
When we go to sleep, our brains are more active than when we're awake, number one, but your brain starts to process the negative emotional things that have happened to you during the day first. It's not until you get into the deep REM stages of sleep that your brain then starts to process and think about the positive emotional experiences you've had. So if you don't get into those deep stages of sleep, what happens when you wake up in the morning? Yeah, you feel groggy and all the rest of it. What are the things you remember? What are you thinking about?
The negative stuff.
Yeah, because that's the work your brain is doing. It hasn't got into the positive stage.
Right.
That's
interesting.
So it's really important, 7 hours of
So
good
don't
sleep.
underestimate the power of sleep.
It's
Definitely not.
absolutely vital.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what other tips can you give us as well from being happier and more positive?
Oh, I was speaking at an event the other day and they asked me that. 2 really key things. So one is the sleep, 2 other things. Find out what you're good at and spend more time doing it. So we all know in our lives, if you sat down for 3 minutes and wrote down 3 things that I'm naturally gifted at, whether that's cooking, spending time with people, whatever it happens to be, just find out what you're good at, spend more time doing it. And the other thing is spend time with people that you care about.
Right.
So there's huge amounts of research from the realms of social cognitive neuroscience now that tells us that because the brain is a social muscle, it needs to be around other people. We all know that, you know, the worst form of punishment for most societies was banishment.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually putting somebody to death. If you banish somebody outside of the community, it's a very slow and painful way to spend the rest of your life. We used to think that being religious, for example, was really great for our mental health and living a happier life. What research is telling us now is that people that have a religious conviction also have a really strong community around them. So spending time with people you love, people you care about, is absolutely one of the key indicators for well-being and happiness.
Now, in the case of people, obviously, that don't have people around them, perhaps that's very important to also, you know, for the viewers that are watching that say maybe you're a bit lonely, is that you can try making friends. It doesn't necessarily have to be family members, because some people don't have like family in the country, for example. Maybe you came over here, your family's back home. So you can surround yourself with friends, make friends, that get out there, and you know, we need that human contact.
Going out and doing stuff with other people is really one of the key elements in living a happy, fulfilled and overall, a happier life.
Okay, now I know you've probably got loads more tips for us, but we've run out of time, unfortunately.
That's amazing.
But the key things: get lots of sleep, and make sure you surround yourself with people, positive people. Would you say?
Just being around people that you care about.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Brilliant. Thank you so much,
You're
Chris. That
welcome.
was really interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, so do stay tuned, because after the break, I'll be showing you a video of a very successful chef whose food I had the pleasure of sampling, as I always do. And I'll also be talking to one of the directors from Suit the City. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, everyone. Now, before I go to my interview with Rawson from Suit the City, let's take a look at my trip to the Cinnamon Club. I'm here today at the Cinnamon Club in Westminster to meet Rakesh, who's the head chef here, and he's going to be telling us all about his signature dish, and we'll also be trying it. I'm here with Rakesh, who is the head chef at the Cinnamon Clubs. Hi Rakesh, thanks so much for speaking to us today. So you've been working here for how long now?
Almost 11.5 years now.
Where did you actually start your cooking?
I started in southern part of India because that's where I come from. I learned a lot from my mother because she still is a very good cook. So a lot of times it was very unusual those days. I mean, spending time in the kitchen, especially back in the 90s. But I used to spend time in the kitchen, see what my mother did in the kitchen, how she cooked food. Got inspiration, a lot of inspiration from her. And also, we used to, during our younger days, my sister and I used to go through recipes in magazines and books, and we used to try them out in the kitchen. I wanted to do something different. I didn't want an office job. I didn't want a sit-down job, 9-to-5 job, sitting in an office. So that sounded something adventurous. I mean, that's probably the reason why I wanted to join the army as well, because I wanted something adventurous in my life. So this sounded like an opportunity because I love cooking. Till that point, I hadn't considered it as a profession. So it was more like a hobby to me.
So now you're head chef here. What's your signature dish here?
Red deer. We started using red deer in the menu about 12 years ago, and since then it's been on the menu. The accompaniments have changed. The type of the cut of meat that we use has changed as well, but it's been on the menu ever since, and it's got lots of different awards as well. But that's an iconic dish right from the beginning.
Okay, Rakesh, thank you so much, and we look forward to sampling your dishes.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a bit about some of the spices in here?
Sure. The deer is marinated with typical Rajasthani spices like peppercorns, cloves, fennel seeds, green cardamom, and also a bit of garlic, coriander roots, and some mustard oil to bind everything together. The sauce is, again, like I said before, it's inspired by the royal cooking. It's a very rich sauce. It's got lots of different nuts. There is pistachio, there is cashew nuts, there are almonds, cooked with onions and made into fine puree.
Well, I'm thoroughly enjoying this meal. Thank you so much. Thank you. Welcome back, and now we're joined with Carol Rawson from Suit the City. Hello, Carol.
Hi, Chrissy.
I love that colour on you. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Glad to see you.
Good. Okay, so tell us all about this business that you put together. Suit the City.
Well, Suit the City originated from my frustration with buying clothes. And I decided to do something about it. I got fed up of the high street with black polyester everywhere, wanted some colour in my life, but also I was in business, and it was really hard to find business wear for women. Men were really catered for and women really weren't at the time.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit boring, some of the stuff we find out there, isn't it?
Yeah, really boring. So let's do something about it. So back in the 80s, I was working in the city. And I got the instructions around of what salesmen will wear, because there weren't any saleswomen, I was the only one. And basically it described a St Trinian's uniform: black suit, black socks, white shirt, smart tie. I sent it back saying, do you want me to look like I've just come out of St Trinian's? And that was one of the things that inspired me to think about doing this. Okay. Since then, of course, the technology's caught up. So at that time, it was men in basements with scissors making very masculine clothes. And one thing I wanted to do was cater for women. So there's some things here behind us that are very feminine, as well as...
Now, I have to say, I did try these on earlier and I absolutely loved every single piece, actually.
I know you're not having them all.
I thought it a little bit big for me, but there was, lovely, really different, really lovely clothing.
I'm really glad you like them. You know, the key thing here was to really cater to individual tastes, because we are all different. We don't want to look like clones. We want to feel like something's been made for us. Yeah. And, you know, if we're going to a wedding or a party or something, we don't want to be wearing the same outfit as somebody else.
That's right.
So it's a really great opportunity to express yourself. Okay. And it's my creative side, you know, to use colour and think about colour and work with clients and their personalities. Personalities are what excites me.
I mean, office wear is pretty boring, so it's just so refreshing to have an option like this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I go on the tube and I see all these clones in black and I think, you know, it'd be really nice to wear a purple jacket instead of a black jacket one day a week, you know, Definitely. Something a bit different.
Okay. Now, you've also chosen to franchise the business. Why is that?
Absolutely. Well, myself and Sallie, my co-director, who's unfortunately not here, she had a knee op the other day, we didn't want to take on loads of staff all over the UK. It's an absolute nightmare. But what we have wanted to do is offer the service that we can to everybody, you know, within reason. And the last thing I wanted to be doing was trying to manage people in Aberdeen and Edinburgh and Plymouth. Just be a nightmare, because you would never know whether they were actually delivering the level of service. But obviously, a franchisee is different. They've bought the business, they've bought the brand, they've invested in a business for themselves. So they're much, much more committed than, you know, an average employee. So we've done really well, and we've got two fantastic guys now, one in Leeds who's kind of looking after the north at the moment, and one down in Guildford who's looking after the south. And then we service London and anywhere else, really. So we are busy. Okay. So, you know, I'm looking to get 50 across the UK.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
business people, you know, there's no sewing involved. You don't have to be able to sew, thank God, because I can't.
Just be able to sew and have a passion for the business.
Yeah, I mean, all the sewing's done by our tailors. We have a factory, and it's all done by computers now. So the technology's there.
Carol, just before you go, if there is someone that's sort of thinking of starting up a business, but they're a little bit apprehensive because you know they're not sure if it's going to work out, what advice would you give to them?
I think key thing is to know your market. If you know that there's a market for your product and you've researched it properly, then you'll know that you can actually make a success of it. And I guess the critical thing for me particularly was the investment, the funding. I couldn't do this business 25 years ago because I didn't have the funding. But 7 years ago, we're in a position to do it. So I think the government initiatives that are around at the moment to help young people start businesses should be looked into, and you should definitely know that you've got something different to offer. There's so much out there. If you can come up with something a bit unique, something that people want, then you'll be successful.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Carol.
Pleasure.
Thank you for bringing on the jackets for us
Good
to
to
see.
meet you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be taking them away, Chrissy.
Okay, oh, never mind.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, do stay tuned because after the break, we'll be speaking to Melanie Burnell, who wants to raise awareness on breakdowns and how full recovery can and does happen. So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Now, before we speak to Melanie, let's take a look at another success story.
Here I am with Mila Falls, singer-songwriter. So what was it that inspired you in the beginning to become a writer and a singer?
Well, I've loved music since I was born. I can always remember just loving listening and being inspired by lyrics. I think when I heard particularly things like Lauryn Hill when I was growing up, I was like, this song's changing my life and I'd love to do that for someone else.
Jupiter and Mars on an intergalactic mission to party hard.
Is there somebody in your life that gave you that self-belief or encouragement to actually go ahead and choose this career path?
I always had sort of full backing from my mum, so I think, yeah, she was like, go for it, you can achieve anything. So, yeah, that was really inspiring because I think without her I wouldn't have dared do it.
So far in your career, what have you most enjoyed about it?
The thing I've enjoyed most probably is playing to 10,000 people.
Because you supported Ringo Starr, I saw, right?
Yeah, that was amazing. And then I've done lots of other shows as well. Yeah, the big gigs are the highlights for me.
And I'm hearing you have like some celebrity followers, like is it Jonathan Ross and Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah, I had the pleasure of performing for them when they came up after the show. I performed at Gordon Ramsay's launch and then I've been playing at his restaurants ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, he's amazing. He tweets me and I'm like, oh my gosh, thanks. The most important lesson I've learnt so far is just keeping true to yourself, because I wrote a lot of songs when I was starting out, trying to write in the style of like pure pop, and I thought this isn't really me. So I think you've got to kind of make music that you like and you're really proud of.
So take a ride on my rocket, so fast we can't stop it. I'll take you to the Chrissy B Show, brighter than starlight, yeah. See me a million miles away, brighter than starlight, yeah. Oh, 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 oh.
Thank you very much, Mylan. Now we have Melanie with us. Hello, Melanie.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you, my
I'm
darling?
fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So nice of you and brave of you to come on the show and talk about what you went through, because you went through quite a tough time, didn't you? Can you tell us about it?
I did. I had a mental breakdown and ended up in a psychiatric hospital for 3 months about 2 years ago now. And it was what led up to it was stress with running my own business and all the stress that was involved with that, and working 24/7.
Like
yeah,
24/7.
Yeah, I literally worked 24/7 for 2 years.
Not enough sleep.
No, I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating.
Chris was talking about earlier, wasn't
all
it?
the things Chris said, I didn't do.
Wow.
Just in pursuit of making a success of my business.
What business was it?
I had an art gallery, and I had 11 staff, and I managed 200 artists. And
200?
Yeah.
With 11 staff?
Yeah.
Oh. That's quite a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, and I realised that I needed to take the business model online because the recession hit and it made it very difficult. The costs were spiralling. I was taking no wage and working 20 plus hours a day.
But were you realising that something was going wrong, or within yourself?
Within
or
myself,
were you ignoring it,
I was ignoring it. I was just living off coffee, cigarettes, and adrenaline, really, and wine. And but I just kept going. Developed a website so we could launch online, relinquish the centre, and then things started to fall apart. I'd begun to have panic attacks, get very shaky, get very teary.
What was it you were afraid of, though?
It wasn't really...
You wasn't actually afraid of anything?
No, it was just that I just had a complete breakdown, really. I wasn't afraid of anything. I wanted the business to be a success. I wanted to get it online, and I achieved that. But when that happened, and I kind of should have then been enjoying the next phase of my business, it was like my mind had just broken, and I was just...
So panic attacks?
Started with panic attacks, being very tearful, not eating, not being able to sleep.
Wow.
And I got diagnosed with depression from the doctor and sent away with antidepressants and told to rest.
Did you rest?
I couldn't rest. I was constantly, my heart was constantly beating. Even at home I wasn't working, I couldn't work. My veins in my head would throb, and I'd get like a lump that would bulge in my head.
Oh, gosh.
And couldn't sleep, couldn't rest. I kind of was having really strange thoughts, like I would watch the telly, and I couldn't really watch the telly because I thought that thoughts were being implanted in my mind somehow, and it was...
So you got a bit paranoid as
extremely paranoid, yeah, and this went on for 7 months.
Gosh.
And
it's a nightmare.
It was a living nightmare. It was so scary. It was such a frightening time, and I just didn't know what was wrong with me, and I didn't think I'd ever get better, and I was frightened about being locked up and sent away, and in the end I took an overdose because I couldn't cope anymore. And then, because I took the overdose, I got sent to a secure psychiatric hospital.
So what you feared
on
the
suicide?
most
Yeah,
happens.
I was put on suicide watch, and I ended up staying there for 3 months.
Oh gosh.
So it was a very harrowing
If you don't
time.
mind me asking, how was it
It
there?
was awful.
Yeah.
It was.
I love the way she's smiling when she's talking about something so serious, which really proves how far you've come since
through
then.
it. I've just used humour to deal with it, and another thing as well is I've written a book which has helped with my. It's been very therapeutic to talk about my experiences. It's not yet published, but I finished it.
Oh, brilliant. So that's helping actually sort of putting things down.
And the book's actually called The Day My Brain Slipped Out My Head and Onto the Kitchen Floor.
Oh, that's a brilliant title. I love that.
That actually happened to me. Actually happened to me because psychosis is, which is what I had, the term psychosis, which is the name of the mental illness that I had, which is where you have like a complete break from reality and your thoughts get all jumbled, and it's a very frightening illness. But I want to help other people by raising awareness of this illness, because if I'd have been diagnosed and treated sooner, I wouldn't have hit crisis point.
Yeah.
But it was left and left and left, and they just said it's just depression, but it wasn't. It was psychosis. And I want
so what can people do if they are if they have gone maybe to their doctor and they've just been said, okay, it's just depression?
Yeah,
if you say just to keep sort of pushing and saying...
Keep pushing and ask to be tested for psychosis. Ask if it could be psychosis, because once it's diagnosed and they get the treatment right, you can make a full recovery. I've made a full recovery.
Is that what happened to you? Was the treatment, the medication that you were given?
Yeah, it was a mixture. It was all the help and support of my family and my friends, and being in hospital, and just things like sleeping again. In hospital I started to sleep, where I'd been missing out on that. And the medication, because it's a serious illness that needs medication, and it needs the right medication.
Now, in your case, obviously, you've bounced back, and you know, it looks like you're doing brilliantly. What have you got plans now again? What happened to the business that you had?
The business that I had got taken away with my business partner at the time, who thought I'd never make a full recovery.
Oh.
So I've come back with a new website that's kind of
good for you,
bigger and better.
That's brilliant. And so it's bigger and better. How's it going?
Flying up the searches in Google. It's called Artist Info. It's an online art gallery, and I represent 600 artists from 30 countries.
Wow.
So in a year,
okay,
I'm
going to ask this, because I'm sure that the viewers are thinking the same thing now, have got the same question. How are you going to ensure that you don't get into that cycle of working late, not eating properly, not sleeping properly?
My mental health is paramount now, and I take such good care of it, and nothing is worth that. In what way?
Like, can you give some tips to our viewers what you do?
I cut off in the evenings, I rest and I relax, I take lots of time out with my friends and family, and I've learnt to work smarter, not harder.
Now, how are you doing that though? Because obviously now you've got even more clients.
Yeah, but it's all online.
How do you do it?
I love the fact that my business is online. I can work from home. It's so liberating.
Yeah.
Rather than having the actual art centre where you're hanging work and you're running around the actual gallery. I love working online. It's liberating.
And what do you do in your spare time now that you've got spare time?
I like shopping.
For you,
I like shopping, photography,
you deserve it.
And I paint as well. I do a bit of art when I can.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. So you see, it is possible to make
you can make a full recovery.
So if
There's
someone's
two,
kind of like...
I would just say there's two danger points with psychosis if it's not treated early. One is that it can lead to schizophrenia if it's not caught early, and the other is it can lead to suicide, as it almost did in my case. So they're two very real dangers if it's left untreated. So that's why I want to raise awareness so people can catch it early and make a full recovery. And if I can save just one life by raising awareness of it, then in my experience would have been worth it.
In terms of like, because I know you said you've got a family network around you and
very,
they're very supportive. What do you think family members can actually do? Like if they see, for example, someone that was in a similar situation as you were before, that's really working so hard, and they're starting to see signs that something's not right. What do you think?
It's very difficult. It's so difficult because my family tried to say to me,
did they?
I just think you've just got to just point them in the direction of literature and programs like this, interviews like this, to say, look, just watch this, see what can happen.
Yeah.
And it's not worth risking your mental health for.
Definitely not. Because at the end of the day, life is about having a balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about having a balance.
Because, for example, if you're too much of a party person, you don't do anything, obviously your finances are going to suffer because you need money to live. So there's a balance. You need to work, but also make sure you have your relaxation time, your time with your family.
It's so important.
It really is. And then you're just happy all around.
Yeah.
Happy today?
Very.
Oh, you're lucky. I love her smile. She's so sweet. Melanie, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. You too.
And
thanks.
Good luck with everything that you're going to be doing.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Okay. All right. So we have reached the end of the program today. But if you want any information about our guest this evening, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. And if you yourself have a success story, maybe you had a pretty bad past, but you managed to turn things around. We love sharing these stories on the show to show to others that, all is not lost. There's always a way to recover fully. So I do hope you've enjoyed everything that you've seen here today. And if you want to email me personally, you can do so on chris@chrissybshow.tv. Bye for now. I have really bad nightmares about clowns when I was younger.
Children don't like clowns.
He always used to appear at the windows and stuff like that. I'm thinking, why is this clown chasing me all the time?
Was it a dream, you said?
Yes, it was a dream.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, there wasn't a clown chasing me. I don't think we're going to have a serious show today.
It's the balloons.
Should I get rid of the balloons? Are they distracting you?
No.
I think we might get the giggles. Okay. No, but I think that's scary. They should arrest him.
I know. No, so he is.
Okay. When they see him, they should arrest him.
Take the balloons away. Okay.
Should we go to the hospital, right? Okay, guys, I'm really sorry. I don't know what it is. Let's go. All right, okay. Serious. I think we should, have you got another news article? Then we can go to the Love Squad.
Yeah, but I think we should go to Love School first.
Yes. Let's just take a look at this video, okay? Video, please.
People I knew were going, and it was just amazing, Chris. The things that I learned was just amazing. Open your card now. Open your card, please.
I've opened my card. Do you know what? I went out today and I asked for a green tea, and I don't know what they put in my tea. I had a different tea, but it wasn't what I thought. Okay. Oh, this is nice. I can't read out all this. And Bianca said, open your birthday card on the show, and then it's just way too much. Oh, thank you guys. It's way too much to read on the show right now.